COVID-19, coronavirus, the Wuhan plague, or Kung flu, whatever you want to call it, there's no denying the influence or reputation of this microscopic ball of misery, or how it's distracted humanity from finding a cure for the real plague, which is whatever this TikTok thing is. China, which is where the virus originated, which isn't racist to say, it's just accurate, and to prove my point, here's a list of virus names named after the places in which they were discovered. Okay, now China have claimed that their infections and deaths were extremely low, like laughably low. You think experts around the world would want to call them out on it and be like, dude, seriously, you expect us to believe this nonsense? But that would be unprofessional, I imagine. So let's look at their absolutely true numbers, because why would they lie? That then later got increased by about 50% because they were so honest from the start. Because that makes sense to sensible people, right? Guys? Now, at the time of making this video, China claims that their infected number was 83,853, with only 4,636 deaths. Praise the wonders of communist medicine. Perhaps we should all be snorting rhino horn dust or whatever it is they do over there. But I have a few issues with these numbers, so hold off on that line of magic rhino dust just for now. Chinese hospitals are split into 3 tiers, Tier 1 being the lowest, like clinics, and Tier 3 being the most advanced hospitals that perform all kinds of procedures. Across China, they've got over 10,000 Tier 1 hospitals, over 9,000 Tier 2 hospitals, and over 2,500 Tier 3 hospitals. The total amount of hospitals being 22,396. Sources can be found below. 173 of these hospitals are in Wuhan alone. And then there's the number of hospitals in all the towns and cities in Hubei province. And then there's the hospitals in all the neighbouring provinces that I can't be bothered to find all the numbers for because I only have one lifetime and it's rapidly ticking away. Like, in total, that's a lot of hospitals and a lot of bed space is my point. Given the amount of hospitals that adds up to, and every hospital in Hubei was ordered to take coronavirus patients, and they didn't build the 16 temporary hospitals until, according to Dr. Zheng, all 3 tiers of hospitals became overcrowded by coronavirus patients. I punched all these figures into my calculator and it told me not to worry about it, my comrade. I checked and it was made in China. My next point of concern is if there was only just over 4,500 deaths, why have there been huge stacks of urns being delivered to a number of crematoriums? There have also been huge lines of people waiting to collect the ashes of loved ones, and just one Chinese funeral home getting a delivery of over 5,000 urns all on its own. But I have to admit, part of me is looking forward to how the Chinese government's going to try and explain this away by saying they're edible joke urns or something. And knowing what we do know about the Chinese and their previous human rights record, I would bet money that they wouldn't grind their economy to a halt and start taking measures like this for just over 4,500 citizens' deaths, or even for just over 80,000 sick, especially considering that only makes up about 0.006% of their entire population, or why they had to bring in extra crematoriums just to deal with that small number of deaths. But you never know, maybe it's just to get rid of some of that extra food that communism legendarily generates. And while we're on the subject of numbers, there really isn't a satisfactory explanation for why over 21 million mobile phone contracts in China were cancelled earlier this year, considering, it's illegal not to have a mobile phone, or a cell phone if you prefer. Now, the CCP, in their infinite wisdom, have said this is because foreign workers sometimes have 2 phones, and that they've cancelled the ones they use for work during the lockdown. Just how they'll be told to come back to work after the lockdown is over, or why they need so many foreign workers in a country with the population is just under 1.4 billion is anyone's guess. Their official numbers look shakier than a jelly factory in an earthquake is my point. There have also been huge levels of damage control by the Chinese trying to look like they care, sending aid to other countries, which would be lovely if any of it actually worked. There have been multiple countries across the world now rejecting shipments from China because of faulty, substandard or contaminated equipment. And then we see videos appearing online like this charming young man working hard to ensure the masks are tough enough to withstand shoe polish. Yeah, I'm sure that's what's happening. Given all the above, and the countless videos online that seem to show Chinese nationals going out of their way to spread germs, it's really no wonder that the internet is aflight with conspiracy theories about how the Chinese government has done this intentionally. But given the damage to their economy, with their GDP recently dropping into the negative, and the damage to their reputation with finding out that even the equipment their government is sending is as low quality as the crap you find on apps like Wish, I can see many people in the future choosing not to buy Chinese products, and I will be one of them. In summary, what I think is the Chinese government have lied about the total amount of cases and the total amount of deaths, and I think the reason they did that is because they didn't want to scare people away from investing in their economy, which clearly failed. I think they covered it up, they lied, and people died. I think every country in the world affected is perfectly justified in sending them their coronavirus expenses bill. Right, thank you everyone for watching, especially those of you who have stuck around during my absence. You're much more patient than I deserve. Also a big shout out and thank you to a subscriber of mine, Sarah Brannell. Without her support, this video would not have happened. And I'm going to make a concerted effort to start uploading regularly again. What do you think? Do you agree or not? Let me know in the comments. And as always, thank you for your time.